And how I'm supposed to start every freaking video. Hi guys.
Hey guys.
What's happening? Yeah. So hey, welcome to Rule Zero, whatever episode this is. I think we're like on like episode like 300 or something like that at this point. And once again, Twitch says that the title is invalid. The Thot-Pocalypse, the OnlyFans. I guess you can't put OnlyFans, even the term OnlyFans. Like, why am I even like simulcasting to Twitch these days?
I invented the term Thot-Pocalypse. There's no way it can't be banned yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Is Twitch even a thing? Like, is that a platform old fart like us got to be?
Yeah, it is for let's see, body painting girls.
Hot tub girls,
yeah. Hot tub girls, right? Yeah.
So Modern Life John.
Yeah, pretty much. No, even John. I think even John has the sensibility not to go on Twitch anymore.
It's such a coddled world we live in right now. It's gross.
I know.
Like a bunch of babysitters, and then the babies rally around the banning of anybody who says something mean or makes them feel bad.
Yeah, more or less. As you can't even tie. There's like people always talk about the algorithm for like YouTube. Let me explain something to you. Twitch has a much tighter algorithm than YouTube ever will have.
The only thing I hate about it is its discovery.
Yeah. So anyways, welcome to Rule Zero. We'll have John from Modern Life Dating is coming in at some point today. We might have us. I think Sterling, and I think I invited Justin. Justin Waller is also supposed to be coming in today too. I don't know. We'll see what happens. A lot of weird shit happening in the manosphere these days. So, and I don't even really want to be associated. If you saw my my video with Lauren Southern yesterday, it was actually on Discord, and I've never used Discord for like video or for doing an interview before. Yeah, is that what the kids are doing today? Like, is YouTube like old school now? I don't know. Like I was just saying a minute ago, like Twitch and all this other crap that's going on. I've never used it. I have a Discord account, but I've never used it to actually do an interview of any,
Dude, do you remember AIM Instant Messenger from back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
That's Discord.
Yeah,
that helps. That's just what Discord is now.
I didn't even know you could do like audio and video on Discord. I thought it was just sort of like like a chat kind of thing, but I guess you can do a lot more with it. I need to start it. I guess I need to start a Discord.
Well, I got one. This guy Dante runs ours. He puts links into our chats all the time with me, with Jack, and that. It's literally just guys in there swapping notes. It's awesome.
Yeah, if you could get someone else to do it. I got Cynic and Chief doing mine, but I have like a limit. I think I can only do about 5 media platforms, and that's it. I'm not, until one drops off or kicks me off, I'm not learning another username and password. I'm just, this is bullshit. I don't care if the kids, I set up TikTok, and the only reason I set up TikTok because you can do it from your phone. Like, hey kids, you effing suck, and I'm an old grumpy man, and fat chicks are dumb, ha 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 ha, and then you just kind of go the chicken like that. But
yeah, let me address a few stupid rumors here first. Number one, the guy who was impersonating me in the chat like before I came on, yeah, that guy's been banned. That's not me. And no, my wife does not have an OnlyFans account. Thank you very much for throwing that one on there. No. In fact, you know what? I hope guys go look for her. If you're that stupid, I hope you're spending your time looking for an OnlyFans account of Rollo Tomasi's wife. Please do. Please waste your time. I'm all about that now.
This is our career now.
The catch, his wife is Rachel Dorazel.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Dolezal. Yeah, that's it. You're right. Yeah. Really, go look it up, please. Waste your time. I'm at the point right now where it's like when people start making up stuff about me, or they start talking like they want to drop rumor. Rollo's getting divorced. Okay, please go spend all your time looking up for the the filing for divorce. Go right ahead. Be my guest. And all the dust up that's going on with Fresh and Fit, Naba and Preach right now. It's like I had to respond to that. I had to. It's because by not responding, that's a response these days. And it's all about team sports at this point. It's like Team ABBA and Team Fresh or whatever. Mm-hmm. And but people want to throw out all this stuff. You're just on their side. You're just biased. Blah blah blah. And it's like, well, if I didn't say anything, you would just say, oh, he's just ducking and hiding right now. So what would you rather I do? Would you rather I address this whole thing, or would you rather I not address this whole thing? So that's what I did.
I don't know. Maybe we all take a vacation and not care.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point right now. Again, I'm taking the same approach, right? If you think that that's what's going on, and you think that Abba and Preach have some sort of legitimate, bullshit beef, whatever you want to call it, they're the ones that started it. Let's just be honest here. And I think there's a lot more behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know what's going on right now. But you know what? If that's your team, please go ahead, follow them. Keep wasting your time.
Who's Abba and Preach?
Yeah, exactly.
I've been stuck doing, like cutting,
never heard of them before either.
Big channel, Black Sphere. They've been around a while.
I'll tell you what's funny is when I was doing, I was looking up channels that have been piling on the OnlyFans topic that we're going to talk about today. The number one channel the number one video that's got like something like 1.17 million views already, and within like 24 hours of doing it, is this guy named like Penguin.
Oh, yeah, Charlie.
That guy, right?
He's been around forever. He's huge.
That dude has like 5.37 million subs, and I'm like, oh, let me check out what he's talking about, right? So I started because I wanted to see if it's like a 20-minute video. 1.7 million people have or at least 1.17 million people have watched that video. And I'm like, okay, what's this guy doing that's making him so popular? And I'm looking at it, and he's just like, he doesn't have a studio. He doesn't have even John.
That same white T-shirt, he's been wearing that for 4 years.
And he's shooting it from the webcam off of his laptop, and I'm like, wow, so to me, when people are talking about subs being the sort of the benchmark for the quality of a show, I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. It's just engagement and just popularity. That's all it is it's a high school popularity contest.
I think it's a Wild Bill Hickok beard and mustache. I think that really is what
maybe that's what works the best. Man, when Sterling comes in here, he's going to give you so much grief.
But yeah, Charlie, he's been around for forever. That's kind of his thing. He's just been around long enough that everybody kind of knows who he is.
Right.
Like he's got like PewDiePie's phone number kind of. He's been around that long.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, and I look at some of these channels, like I look at fishing channels that have like 6 million subscribers. And I'm like, and all they do is like 20-minute fishing videos. So it's not so much about like whatever the topic is. It's just really like what's popular and what's the genre actually are you putting out there right now. But
yeah, most people aren't trying to be challenged and think of new things and have new ideas brought to them. A lot of people just consuming what they already consume.
90% of the people giving me grief on my comments and everything else haven't even watched the video. Like they don't watch videos. Like I think I told you this, Ryan, is like I did the YouTube shorts, like the hashtag shorts thing. Yeah. And I will get, those are some of my most quote unquote viewed videos, meaning that people just click on the video maybe, or they comment. So certainly my most commented videos, because all they do is look at the title. They scroll through maybe the first dozen or so comments, and then they leave a comment themselves without ever watching the video. And the way I know that is because the comments that they leave indicate that they've never watched the video, right? If you'd watched the video, you would not really be leaving that comment. And that's really what people just want, that engagement right now. I think they just want to feel like they're adding to some sort of, global conversation. And it's like, oh, I'm better than you. Let me tell you why. It's like, you didn't even watch a 53-second video.
Dude, you guys, guys who do watch it, don't watch it. Like I'm doing that one series mid-watch where I'm just doing field reports. Mm-hmm. And there's guys that it's like episode 15 now. And there's guys who are watching it and they're like, I didn't realize you have like Kung Fu films in the background. It's like, yeah, like this, it's on for like 20 minutes of the thing too. So you can't miss it. My favorite is just background noise while they're doing something different. They're kind of half paying attention. It's whatever.
I like where I don't know if you guys got people that are this addicted or hate bonery of you, but I will literally be in 10 seconds into a video and I got 1 or 2 people that will immediately downvote it. Like, I mean, are you watching me the entire time to see if I have a video only so you can downvote? Like, man, like why are you alive?
We got the alerts set just so they can
like,
downvote.
I'm glad you hate me that much. I'm glad I'm the dildo in your ass to get that much.
Yeah, and then there's like topic. God damn it! You know what? Like John's like, hey, we need to hit on this this OnlyFans Thot-Pocalypse that's coming up, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, right. Where the hell are you, John? You're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be here like 15 minutes ago. Uh, he really wanted to hit on this, and he also did a video on the Abba and Preach versus Fresh and Fit thing on Thursday, and I thought it was actually pretty well put together. But like when you go for like 2 hours or 3 hours and you don't tell people what it is that they want to hear, then they just sort of tune out, leave some hate comment, and then they move on. And that's really all it's going to end up. That's all this is going to end up being. It's not going to change anything.
I did followers though too, right?
Did any of you guys see my my talk with Lauren Southern?
No.
I had a chance to.
Did you watch any of that, Brian?
I haven't yet. I know. I have
like
to.
Download
so
Discord
busy.
or something now.
Well, I had to.
It went better than the Savvy one. I take it.
It was actually not too. Yeah, exactly. It was good, and I'm actually kind of glad I did it. When I went in, I'm like, God, what don't I've never gone on Discord. I'm sort of at a disadvantage because I can't see her, and it was really more of an audio interview than anything else, at least as far as I was concerned. I couldn't see the chat. I wasn't really. All I was doing was just talking to her like direct on Discord. And we talked some good stuff, but it was basically what I would have expected from her. It's like, well, we need to have a better world, and men need to man up and need to be more responsible, because if they're more responsible, then women will shape up too. And I'm like, yeah, how's that worked for the last 30 or 40 years from when
that's not the script, Rolo. You got to send her an egg carton picture at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another thing. The guy who's in the chat right now calling himself the Rational Male. Here, this is for you. Here you go.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, that's you. See you later. Again. What gets me is like guys have that much time to like create another account, because I banned that account prior to coming on, and now they go and create another account with the same av, right? With the same icon. Keep going, really. Keep wasting your time. I hope you do. Is it really worth that much to you? Because apparently it is. So anyways, I did Lauren Southern's show, I guess. And does she even have a show? Because I see her YouTube channel, and she was really I think she was kind of part of the alt-right for a while. Am I correct?
Part of everything. She's like
part of it. Yeah. She has a kid now. I was actually shocked to hear that. And I think she's just turning 40, or she's getting into her 40s right now. And she's
that old?
She's a single mom, and that's why she's all spicy.
Is she? I don't know. I don't know if she's with the guy right now, but I know that she does have. Maybe she got married, had a kid, and then she got divorced. I don't know what the whole backstory is. I didn't really get into that with her.
It's the grift. It's same as Candace Owens and them. It's whatever's popular. I'm into that. She used to be all about like the Somalian refugees in Italy, and then she was all about the atheism thing, and then the anti-feminism, and now it's dipping her toe into manosphere, see if man things are cool.
Yeah. Suddenly everybody wants to be red pill. Everybody, or the people who didn't want to be red pill before, or they were red pill once, then they didn't want to be red pill, and now suddenly they want to be red pill again.
Oh, good. Florida 2.0.
Maybe nobody remembers me anymore. No one will go looking for my past blogs on Wayback Machine.
Remember
Why
blogs?
Are you so hard on him, man. Yes. Poor guy takes his wife out on one date with some other dude, and I never hear the end of it.
He's done. I don't see how anybody takes Jack Murphy seriously. I really don't. I mean, the skunk beard, everything else. It's like I just don't.
I gotta ask again, who's Jack Murphy? Who are these people? You can imagine all these.
Jack Murphy I think now he's a regular on Tim Pool, but he used to be part of the 21 convention. But he hated them, then he loved them, then he hated them, and then now
I'll look him up here. I'll look him up.
Yeah,
he's like Mike Cernovich-ish.
Light. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Cernovich light. Yeah, same thing. They used to be. Most guys do that though. They start off talking about relationships and sex, and they're part of the manosphere, which doesn't really exist anyway. Mm-hmm. And then they get to a certain point, because this place really sucks. And then they kind of have that Cernovich moment where he says, like, oh, I got to get out of this shithole. And then they'll switch to politics, or to nationalism, or something that's basically against the grain, because the kind of people that hate mainstream stuff will watch your alternative shit, and they won't look into it too clearly. So you don't have to worry about that. Just throw out the words critical thinking, run your mouth about whatever. And then they'll switch from one grift to the next grift to the next grift to the next grift. Like, remember Cernovich was all pro-Trump, And then all of a sudden one day Trump was going to lose. And he's like, you know what? I never liked Trump anyway. It's the same thing. Clout for clout's sake. It's Kardashians with a beard.
Are we doing the bearded Jack Murphy or the ex-military special forces Jack Murphy?
The bearded man. Yeah, the beard. The lumberjack.
Jesus Christ.
You know, I tell you, and I hate getting into this shit too, because it's like, you know, the man, one of the topics I talked about. Oh, good. Here's Sterling. Yay. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello, gentlemen. How are we doing?
You guys.
Wonderful framing, sir. Wonderful framing.
Yeah, it's great. Stay off. Stay off. We don't want to see you, Sterling. Just you can stay comfortably.
Yes, please don't man spread right now.
Falls out.
Before we get started, Sterling, what do you think of John Fitch's new drip here?
What the hell is that, John? That is disgusting.
Hey, my girl loves
getting into the industry.
My number one loves it.
It's disgusting, and I love it. I totally approve. 100% approve of that. We need more of this. There's one thing I've seen. There's one thing I've enjoyed during this pandemic is seeing men grow mustaches.
Yeah,
unapologetic mustaches.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Red Pill Stoic says this. Damn, that's not what I'm looking for. There you are. If you want to see the Lauren debate, such as it wasn't really a debate. It was just
wasn't really a debate. It was.
Yeah. You can see it on. It's on her Twitch channel.
It was a lot of. It was mansplaining. This is what I liked about it.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, I'll tell you what's funny is like I'm halfway through like trying to talk about different topics and stuff, and I'm trying to be. I'm being Rolo, right? I mean, I'm being as thorough as I possibly can, and everybody's like, "Man, this guy's like an encyclopedia." Like, well, what did you expect? Did you want me to just sit here and just like, you know, rattle off platitudes for you? Would that make you feel better? Would you rather?
It would. That's what they're expecting because that's what everybody does.
Yeah, they want their feels tickled.
Yeah, and I
don't care about logic or reason.
That's really where the manosphere is right now. And Ryan, you're right. The manosphere is a freaking shit stew. It's
I'm not. There is no manosphere. It doesn't exist. It's just guys online doing their thing, and they pretend that we're women, and they make us a monolith. There's a reason why nobody likes anybody else in the manosphere. It's because none of us care, and none of us do the same things. You can't be put in the same category as Mike Cernovich and MGTOW Dictionary and what other ABBA and Preach. Like, none of those guys have anything to do with anybody else. So why would you call them a singular thing? Makes no sense.
Yeah. And so like that was half of my discussion with Lauren. Was like, oh, well, the manosphere is all about guys who are all about incels and black pill guys. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, that's the black pill. That's the incel guys. That's not, it has nothing to do with anything like I'm talking about or anybody else is talking about.
They have their own sphere.
Yeah. And so
sphere of loserdom.
Yeah, sphere of loserdom. That's what I'm going with from here on out. We needed a new name for it. Thank you, John.
Sounds like the League of Doom from Super Friends.
Exactly.
It's kind of what it is.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm
underground layers.
I'm digging up information on this OnlyFans thing, and I think probably Sterling knows a little bit better than I do about what's going on with, because you work with girls who are already on OnlyFans right now. So like, is this the beginning of the end? Are they people like are the girls you like know or work with, are they like losing their minds right now?
Well, yes, they're losing their minds. So that's absolutely true, but it's not the end of the world. So let me give you some. We can relax a bit more now, Justin. Look, we've got the widescreen.
Oh, by the way, this is Justin Waller. I should call him Justin Baller because he's dude is a good dude.
Justin's a good friend of mine. Justin's a good friend of Rolo's now as well. Rolo graciously invited us both on the show today. So say hi, Justin.
I'm going to be doing an interview with Justin very soon, just so you guys will get more familiar with Justin. I want to bring Justin into the extended Rule Zero family, if that means anything to anyone.
He's an introduction. So, so the whole OnlyFans thing that kicked off a few days ago, right? So there's been a hell of a lot. Do you want me to give you like all the kind of industry insight that I know right now?
Yeah, please do. Yeah,
cool. So basically. Yeah, OnlyFans, a whole bunch of articles started leaking around the internet about banks clamping down on OnlyFans, so they had to update their terms of use policy. this comes off the back of basically Pornhub getting destroyed and losing their association with Visa and MasterCard at the end of last year. So banks are sort of clamping down on this stuff a bit more now. Fans obviously drew attention, and the banks started clamping down on it. So that means that there's they had to make an update to their terms of service, and there was rumors going around that yes, this is going to end OnlyFans, and there's contradictory information going around right now in my industry saying no, they're not. This is obviously over the last couple of days, and then I found the most recent terms of service update on OnlyFans, which I've just shared with you, Rollo. Share screen here.
Oh yeah, let me put that up here. Go ahead.
This is the most important one right now. This is the most recent one. This is the thing that's taken them down. I don't know if you can zoom in on it at all.
I'll do my best.
Maybe I can.
You would have to do it, but go ahead. So this is the new policy here.
To zoom in. Oh fuck yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
Acceptable use policy, right? Anything. This is what they're defining as sexually explicit conduct. So this was the key thing, because people were like, oh, they're just gonna. People thought, in my industry at least, people thought, oh, they're updating their terms of service to just try and get rid of like kiddie porn, or get rid of unverified porn, or get rid of like anything, like to just explicitly state like no bestiality, no scat, no kiddie stuff, no, like they're kind of cut out the more extreme stuff, because that's typically what most porn sites have to do to get credit cards to work with them. So we thought that's what was going to happen, and then OnlyFans updated this yesterday. So sexually explicit means actual or simulated sexual intercourse, including genital, oral, oral, anal between persons of any sex, actual or simulated masturbation, and that's the fucking one that's going to kill it. This second one, actual or simulated masturbation, basically means now OnlyFans is Playboy. It's just tasteful nudes. It's gone. Like there's
softcore porn.
It's not even porn anymore, because you can't do like girls can't even masturbate. So all on this platform anyway. Any exhibition of I like this one. Any exhibition of the anus. That guy's showing your butthole.
There goes my butthole suntanning.
That's funny, because that's like the first joke we always say. You know, like OnlyFans girls make their living off of showing their butthole on OnlyFans.
But this is basically because these are the new ones. So this see section C from where it says shows, promotes, advertises firearms, weapons. That was already in there. All this stuff down here was already in there. But this stuff here is all new. This section I, sorry, 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. This is all the new stuff that just got added. So that is 100% confirmation that OnlyFans is setting fire to like $2 billion.
Really? Money. Really?
Like seriously, because what did I say? Let me give you some numbers really quickly. I found the numbers. I did a little bit of prep for the show because I knew you guys would want me to.
Thank you.
The correct information. So here we go. OnlyFans made $375 million in net revenue in 2020, and they were expecting to do $1.2 billion in 2021, and the projection was going to be like 2.5 in 2022. That ain't happening. Now, that pile of cash has successfully been set on fire. I don't think any of you guys are familiar with Tumblr.
Yeah, I remember.
Tumblr made this giant fucking mistake a couple of years ago where they got rid of all adult content, and like 90%. Tumblr was essentially like Reddit. Reddit at least has something that isn't porn on it. Tumblr was basically only porn. And they said, we're not going to use porn anymore on Tumblr. And then 90% of Tumblr's users just disappeared overnight. And they ended up, the company ended up selling for like a few $1 million, like nothing. It just got destroyed. So OnlyFans is about to make the exact same thing. And the problem is, I don't think that they can even, I don't think it's even a problem that they can avoid. I don't think this is a situation of OnlyFans CEO being like, oh, we can ride the, like, this is our new glorious path. I don't think it's that. I think it's literally pressure from the banking companies that are like, look, motherfucker.
It's payment processors.
Yes. I was going to get to that, John. Yeah, it's payment processors, because the way they do it, it's like they have to, when these guys. There's a lot of stuff to cover here, but there's about a dozen like copycat alternatives to OnlyFans that have been around for. They're not just brand new. They've been around for like at least a year or two.
Oh, you have accepted the truth.
What the hell was that?
John, go ahead.
John. So first and foremost, let me quash any ideas that this is the end of like the OnlyFans Thot. It's not. We're just gonna move to a different platform.
Yeah, I was gonna say
in the next like 2-3 months, and I'm actually like I'm in some closed Telegram chats right now with some big movers about trying to figure out where exactly is everybody going, like because there's a bunch of management teams around the world that manage like large piles of girls. So like one team over here manages like 75 top earning women. Where are they gonna go? Because wherever the big girls go, like the big, not big as in fat, but big as in high earning, like the top 0.01% girls, wherever they go, basically everyone else is going to go. Because they're the ones that are going to draw the most fans across with them. And so that's going to, and because the key thing for the girls to consider when they move, and this is what we're looking at right now, is which of these sort of OnlyFans copycat alternatives has a good relationship with the payment processor, because what John just said is the key. That is the key thing. Forget about the fucking as I'm getting kind of technical here. Forget about like the interface. Forget about the UI, the user experience. Forget about the back end. It's the relationship with the payment processor that is the most important thing in this business model. Because, and I'm sure you know this, John, the way this kind of works is they use the thing called mids. They get about like Aaron might be able to explain this a bit more, having experience in banking, but it's the chargeback rates on adult is so high that what they have to do is they have to bundle a whole bunch of different mids together to like average out and reduce like the average chargeback. And when people sign up for these like kind of payment processing companies, like every new employee has to create a new corporation for this bank so they can just charge as many of these different cards at the same time. It's like that's the hardest process in all of adult, is getting banks to actually approve transactions. That is the crux that the whole industry is built on, and that's why OnlyFans was working, is because they had that relationship down. So whoever the next one is, and there's a bunch of copycats, whoever the next one is has to have that relationship down with the payment processor. Otherwise you cannot scale and you cannot guarantee the income and the revenue that OnlyFans had before.
Ryan, you wanted to say something about the payment processing?
Yeah, on that. This has actually been a problem since the 2000s. People don't know this, but this is a remnant of the Patriot Act. Really? If you guys don't know, like MasterCard, PayPal, international online commerce goes through them. And because of the concerns over terrorism, there was a law passed where they were given sweeping powers to both collect information and shut down things for suspected terrorism. Now, if you guys remember, terrorism was never actually defined very well. So it's since then it's become to expand to anything you don't want. Now, in 2018, I put a link into some of the press releases from MasterCard back from then. They also had some beforehand where they have essentially said that our policy is going to be to push global e-commerce. That's their goal. That means pushing into new markets. That means pushing into China. That means pushing into Saudi Arabia. They're probably going to be making like deals with the Taliban soon. I have no doubts on that. The problem comes is when you're moving to these other type of nations that have different value sets, they're going to have issues. Saudi Arabia is going to be big on not having porn through the same payment processor. China is going to be big on, weakening Western nationalism and extending Chinese nationalism. That's why it's very hard to get funding. If you remember in 2018, PayPal was banning all kinds of people from their platform. Remember Count Dankula, Stefan Molyneux, like all the alt-right guys, all the America First guys, they were all getting removed from it. That was specifically because it was costing MasterCard on the bottom line. We're like, no, we're pushing a global agenda because we have 8 billion new consumers of credit here and we want them. So anything that goes against that, we're going to shut it down based on, anti-terrorism stuff. And that's why you always get these excuses. Well, they're funding national extremists. You know what I mean? That's just a way of saying terrorism, so they can use this act. They know that Proud Boys aren't terrorists. Same thing with porn. They're blaming child porn. Because why? Because terrorism involves human trafficking. So when you say this stuff, and they know, ask Sterling, he'll vouch for this. When it came to banning underage pornography on the site, Pornhub, probably the best record in the business. Facebook, absolutely abysmal.
Yep. 100% correct there, Ryan.
So it has absolutely nothing to do with that, but you have to use that clause in order to enact this policy under the force of American law. And these are American companies doing this after all. So now you're in this situation where, again, OnlyFans, same thing. They want to appeal to these new markets. These new markets have an issue with this. So they tie in some random thing that has to do with terrorism so they can shut down these processors. And that's exactly what Sterling is saying. It's right. They're the bottlenecks. This is where the problem will be. You can have 800 sites, and OnlyFans would gladly take your GoatC money if you give it to them. But they don't want to lose payment processing to do it. And MasterCard is like, yeah, they may be shutting down a multi-billion-dollar porn industry, but they're not going to care because they're going to have $1 trillion industry in the rest of the world. And that's the problem we have here. And so when I see a bunch of stupid incel losers like MGTOW 42069 talking about, good, we're finally shutting down that hose, it's like, just watch, man. Every hobby you like, as soon as it hits under the auspices of like anti-globalism, is going to get shut down too. Masculine Geek, you may find out Dungeons and Dragons is nationalist and they shut it down, or whatever excuse they come up with. So it's one of those things. This is a canary in the coal mine. Porn's an easy target. Everybody loves to hate porn. Yep. But watch what happens. There is going to be, I guarantee you, at some point, some kind of like Christian evangelical purge where they remove like religious stuff from it too. Because China's big on not having religion or whatever excuse. And that's when people are going to be like, I can't believe they're doing this. It's like, where the fuck were you 20 years ago when you should have seen this shit coming? You were busy yelling at Instagram thoughts, yelling at drunk chicks online, like some podcast that shall not be named.
Out of benefit for the listening audience, I know it's MasterCard, Visa. What are the other payment processors? PayPal. Those are the three main ones.
I think it's MasterCard and PayPal for the most part, but they have a couple organizations. What's that?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Isn't it Stripe too? Stripe is also
for their security. They go through the same. They go through the same too. Like MasterCard and PayPal, they go through PCI and a couple other like NGOs that the companies themselves create in order to police this stuff.
So I'm just trying to figure out. So we're talking maybe 4 entities, not to mention now this is going way back in economics, like the central bank. There's an electronics, the actual physical hardware and software involved of the processing payment. They use this platform. But in other words, there's 3 to 4 entities, some for-profit, some non-profit. There is an electronics ETF, electronic transfer fund system. And these are the guardians and the gatekeepers that if anything's going to be processed, regardless of where the income is generated, they're shutting that down unless you meet a tapioca, milky toast, boring as all F get out, rated G content creation to meet this globalist and make everyone happy in the global sphere.
8 billion consumers is the end goal.
Okay. All right. I see. All right.
Yeah. Like the biggest Stripe, I know Stripe don't work with adult because Stripe never fails. Like they never, that's kind of like one of their like unique value proposition is they don't fail transactions or something. So they don't have anything to do with adult at all. The main one, the big player in the adult space is called CC Bill. They're the guys that do like most of like damn near every major adult subscription site, like Brazzers, Brownick, all these big players that you will be familiar with. Wink, wink. They're the ones that are processing all the credit cards. CC Bill, they're the big guys. So if you have a relationship with CC Bill, then you actually have a chance at creating one of these kind of like.
So why not simply go over to crypto?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. So this is crypto pilling a bunch of hoes. So that's another thing is this. I think a lot of people are overblowing this because only 16,000 creators on that site with 130 million users, only 16,000 make $50,000 a year or more. That's laughable money. That's like a joke. So I think people are overblowing it. I think a lot of guys are out of touch with reality because they don't talk to women in real life. I'm going to be as cynical as Rhinestone right now. And, they are, it's true. These guys don't go out and talk to girls and they think like a girl is just going to like show up to OnlyFans and be like, okay, now I'm a millionaire. Like, cause I posted a picture of my asshole. And, it doesn't work like that. If you actually look into the figures, a lot of these chicks that actually are making money on OnlyFans, they've already been making money elsewhere. Like Amaranth from Twitch, like, one of the biggest Twitch streamers on Twitch's platform, Amanda Cerny, who is already like a massive YouTuber. Who is that chick that rug pulled everybody with like she thought she was gonna post her nudes? The Minnie Mouse, the Mickey Mouse girl. She was a Disney princess, and then she became like a turbo whore. Oh, I fucking forgot it. It's slipping my mind.
You mean she used to be a Disney girl?
Yeah, and then she like pretended she was going to post nudes, and she just posted.
Bella Thorne.
Bella Thorne. There you go, Bella Thorne. Right. So Bella Thorne's literally like a Hollywood movie star now, and you know, she is the one making money. But a lot of these chicks aren't making money. Like, and you know, everybody's like, "Oh, these girls are fresh and fit," or like, "They must be making so much money," because they're not making money. Like, just because they have an OnlyFans doesn't mean people are signing up for it. And to top it off, you want to talk. I mean, if you think Patreon rips you off, OnlyFans takes 20%. 20% of your money. Are you fucking joking me? 20%? I'm not paying somebody 20% of anything. So, I mean, I think it's a little overblown, and you're just seeing a little, like what Ryan was saying, you're just seeing a little vitriol from guys who have never touched a woman in real life.
I completely agree with you there, John. It's when you look at the number, one of the big trends from that you would see going around Twitter was all these girls posting they're like, "Oh, I'm in the top blah percent of OnlyFans creators."
Yeah, that's in the title of every one of it. Anytime it's a post or anytime it's like their username, it's, you know, the percentage of what they got on OnlyFans.
Here's the thing: that percentage it factors in like all the users. So, like John was just saying, like all the millions of simps that are on there, they're factored into that percentage. They're not producing, even though they're not producing anything. So when a girl basically like if you have OnlyFans accounts or you run OnlyFans accounts, you have an idea of how much someone is earning based upon that percentage. And most of these girls they may be earning like $1,000 a month, if that. Like the vast majority are that's all they're earning. Yes, there are some girls who are pulling in like $100K, multiple hundreds of $1,000 a month. There are girls like that. But like you said, John, it's like a very, very tiny percentage of girls on.
It's even worse than that.
I'm just hoping Justin lets you get a word in there, Sterling.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? You said something.
I was going to ask you, do you think the girls that are making the big money are getting managed?
So they have to be. Yeah. Here's the thing: they have to be. This is what guys don't understand. The whole
because I know of a bunch of women that have businesses too, selling bracelets and cupcakes, and their revenue shit also.
In the fucking Instagram bios,
and this product's better.
Yeah. So here's the thing: just thinking about this, I'm not like on this channel. Like we're not shitting we're not. What's the expression you use?
Oh, I'm not trying to shit in your Kool-Aid, but
we're not shitting in our own Kool-Aid here because we run some girls' OnlyFans accounts. But it's not going to be a surprise to anyone on this channel watching this kind of content that men are running those accounts,
those big ones,
the big one, because the girl doesn't have fucking time. If she's like someone like Bella Thorne with thousands and thousands of fans, you think she really has the time to sit there and type to every single one of them? Whilst she's also producing, running around, taking 1 million photos, filming 1 million masturbation videos, whatever the hell she's doing. Not Bella Thorne, but all these other girls. They don't. They have a team running it for her. And so the ironic thing is that all these dudes are masturbating. They think they're chatting to a girl, but actually chatting to another dude while they're jerking off their own dick. It's like it's this dark, twisted world. It's kind of depressing when you actually think about it for like more than half a second. Yeah. And you look at the money and you're like, "Oh, fuck it, I'll keep doing it anyway."
Well, Rolo, one of the best interviews you ever had was with one of the Tate guys, where he was explaining how he ran his business and how, yes, you are not talking to a girl. There's 6 guys fielding all that, and then there's an ear mic, and hey, reach over and act like you're typing. That was in the business where it's like
I'm pretty sure that was Tristan. Tristan's actually like he's on top of his game.
Yeah. And where you said like, oh, so do you split it halvesies? He's like, hell no, I pay him like $600 a month. They don't want to figure out the IT aspect. I give them a stipend. I take 80%. And that was one of the most insightful and economically stimulating podcasts I ever listened to.
Wow.
Now, you guys
think any of this has to do with the global takeover with communism, and they want to keep people from having the opportunity to make any money at all? Because even $1,000 a month for some people is a lot of money. It's better than going in and working at McDonald's to get the same amount of revenue and the same putting in the amount of hours you have to make that money. You think this has anything to do with
I'd say it's the opposite. It's totally capitalistic. These guys are trying to lock down a monopoly or they have an oligopoly, essentially a cartel through this choke point, and they're trying to reach as many people as possible. And we've seen this with YouTube, where, and I've predicted this before, soon it's going to be Disney. It's all going to be rated G. You can't say anything edgy. You can't say anything interesting. And then it's going to be alternative platforms that really get the good stuff, whether that's intellectually not even controversial, but just different. Vice, whether that could be porn or extreme religion or extreme ideological beliefs, or just anything that, just think we're going to be advertising to soccer moms with little 4-year-old children, and there cannot be any offense at all. And Ryan's right. I mean, and not just on a Western platform, but it has to not offend the Chinese. It has to not offend Eastern culture. It has to not offend Muslims. It has to not offend Africans. It has to not offend sweet. I mean, whatever. I mean, and soon it's going to be such boring tapioca pudding that. And I hate paying I want to make a compliment and a question, and I hate complimenting Modern Life John, but I have to. What we're witnessing here, what gives life value? Let me ask you guys that. What gives life value? Don't all jump at once. I'll give you the answer.
Let you define it for us, Cabby.
Okay, spice.
Tell us, man.
Spice and vice. Something different, something unique, something that's not an NPC. And now that we're purging all the spice and the flavor, and whether you agree with it or not, anything that requires a developed taste, now that we're purging that off of this, we're actually sending what I would argue is especially when you consider sex. Sex is like half of GDP, because men don't get up in the morning and produce stuff unless there's the potential for sex. And now that we've kicked that out of the mainstream payment processing platform, that intrinsic value is going to go where? Alternative payments, which means cryptocurrency. And so, yeah, these gals, it is, because what are you going to do? You guys remember Dick Masterson? We tried to set up his own payment processing. I don't know if you guys watched the Dick show.
Yeah.
Okay. He tried doing that. And it's like, he got rebuked. He got shut down. You couldn't do that. Well, okay. What's it got to, okay, crypto. That's where things are going, because it's going to be easier to go set. Now, it's a pain in the ass to set up a crypto account. Don't tell me, John, it isn't. It's a pain in the ass to set up crypto accounts, but it's a hell of a lot easier than going through this cartel, this oligopolist cartel choke point to get things approved. And so people are going to say, well, wait, I could go get Bitcoin or take payment in Ethereum or whatever the alternative currency is, and then I could convert it into my local. So I think that is going to increase demand for cryptocurrency hugely, very bigly. And then I'll say my question for Cooper later, but I'm just saying this is kind of a, the world wants to push down the balloon this way. Well, it just inflates over here. And so I think at an unconscious, unseen, yet at a very atomic granular level, this is going to increase demand for alternative currencies.
Yep.
Because people want their porn, people want their vice, people want their drugs. Even we see it paralleling with drugs. The drug lord, they're into crypto. Why? Because they don't have to deal with the feds.
I think this could be a catalyst for crypto, because VHS became very popular because people were buying porn.
Yeah.
The internet became very popular because people could watch porn. Like, people want their sex, they want their vices, and now they can't get it the regular way. Now they're going to go to crypto.
Well, Cappy's right, man. Dude, when I went back to America in 2016, I was like, I have no motivation because all these women are fat and insufferable. And I was just like, why am I, like, I'm here at 30. I'm like at the beginning of my sexual prime as a man. Like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, there's nothing for me in this country. And I was like, I'll be damned if I'm going to have a fantastic sex life in my 20s and just settle for scraps for the rest on. So I packed my bags up and I came to fucking Tokyo. And that's the spice of life. He's 1,000% correct. Dude, you know what people want now more than ever? Do you know why people are watching us right now? Do you know why people get on the internet? They want answers to the questions that they have so they can live the life they want before they die forever. Because you killed God, right? God is not real anymore in America, right? Unless I'm not going to say it, but Christianity is like, it's dead, right? Like, there's no God. We have to worship science now. And so there's no afterlife, right? And so what do people retreat into?
YOLO.
Extreme hedonism, video games, drugs, and sex, and that's what people want. Okay, now more than ever, people want video games, drugs, and sex. Look at people like hooked on VR. Look at Twitch booming. Twitch is booming because of video games and camera thoughts. So I mean, you're going down the wrong path if you're trying to stifle people in 2021. And I honestly think this is signs of a failing financial system, a failing government system, and just an old archaic way of doing things that's falling apart. Like, I'm not even going to go into the fucking, the whole Fauci juice injections and all that. But I mean, if you just see what's going on around you, there is like a massive fight for control right now, and it's from failing organizations. Like, if you're going to tell me, if you're transferring money internationally and you use the SWIFT money system, like, it's anything but SWIFT, and it costs you a ton of money, and there's a ton of errors, and they can just stop your money whenever they want. And like I said, people want autonomy, and so look, I never hated girls who went on OnlyFans because I already knew the numbers. I was just like, these bitches aren't making shit, right? And the ones that are, were already making money elsewhere. But again, it's just a lot of guys are just disconnected from reality. But ultimately, this is about the payment processors trying to get a bigger market, but a bunch of dorks in an office, again, detached from reality, who don't know what's going on, making a pretty big business blunder, in my opinion, and sowing the seeds of their demise down the road. I don't think we're going to see, because basically OnlyFans is just Patreon now, or Subscribestar with a higher percentage, 20%. That's all they are now.
I'm looking in the chat here, and a lot of people are saying that even if you were to switch over to crypto, you still have to go through a payment processor so that you can buy crypto.
No, you don't. I mean, if you
I have a guy on my show on Sunday who's going to talk about ways to buy crypto without being able to buy it anonymously. So tune in on Sunday.
That's coming. These he's talking about right in America. You have Gemini, you have Coinbase, you have KuCoin, you have Binance US if you want to go through them, but you have to go through your banks to get crypto. And some of the banks are now trying to say, like, you can't buy it. But in Asia, they have like these things. They have like these like crypto drug dealers. Like, you just go to them with cash, and you're like, "Hey, here's $100,000. Like, give me like Bitcoin." And
you have accepted the truth.
You sit there and you do the transactions. And Asia's safe because it's fucking Asia, and it's completely under the nose of people. And you definitely should pay your taxes on that money, because there's no way the government can find out. But pay them twice. But yeah, I mean, that's just the way that's going to come to America eventually.
That's what I was wondering. Do you know about Alipay, John?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to end up being like the great conduit into here? Because they're Chinese owned, completely Chinese isolated.
They're going to try to get their piece in the American pie. I mean, Americans are so dumb. You could take money from them anytime.
No, what I mean though, do you think they're going to try and join MasterCard into like the whole security apparatus? Or do you think they're going to be the way, if you want to buy crypto with cash, just go through Alipay?
The Chinese don't fucking cooperate. They dominate.
There's your choice. China.
So
the great Satan is the savior.
In regards to crypto and this OnlyFans situation, so just like there's, I could reel off about a dozen OnlyFans alternatives right now that are competing for this. We're transitioning from. I had a buddy of mine say this. He's like, "Look, people are still drinking soda. We're just transitioning from Coke to Pepsi. That's all that's happening right now." So right now, over the next like 2-3 months, there's going to be a big battle to see who is the Pepsi, basically. In terms of crypto, though, there are a couple of big players in the space that were they were building themselves up to basically be OnlyFans alternatives, but based around crypto. Now, the problem is that most people don't have crypto. The vast majority of people don't actually have crypto, and they can't really transact like that. So it's sort of this like, it's a nice idea, but you got to kind of integrate the two. You got to kind of integrate the ability to tip and pay with crypto with an established system like an OnlyFans system. There's a couple like Cumrocket is one big player, and Spank Pay, just Spank is another really big player that I actually made a lot of money on.
How can you set up an account to something like that with a straight face? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Like, I want to type that shit in. You're like, is this where I'm at in life?
I want to buy some Spank.
Yeah. I'll probably quit right there.
If it makes you money.
Yeah.
But they are trying to like integrate
talking about the customer, the dude
at
the computer.
I'm gonna send this bitch some cummies crypto.
That's a low place in life if you have to sign up for something called Spank Pay.
It's literally called Spank Pay, but that they're trying to integrate now with some of these OnlyFans alternatives to allow people to do both fiat and crypto simultaneously on these platforms. I think that's the move. If you get an integration like that on one of these big platforms, that's when we start to see the kind of Betamax VHS kind of thing that you were talking about, John, where it's like, okay, now it's kind of been accepted. Like now it's integrated already into this system. It's not because right now they're all trying to do it like standalone. They're like, I've had a bunch of people pitch me in my inbox like in the last 24 hours about like, hey man, do you think we could build like a crypto alternative to OnlyFans? I'm like, well, you could, but you don't understand. But man, like they're already out there, and they're not even really working that well because they're not. You got to connect it together. You can't. If you try to do it as a separate thing, it ain't going to really work because there's just not enough like simps with crypto who are willing to part with crypto.
Give it time. See, here's we have such biological human forces pushing. Men want their sex, and everyone wants their vice. You know, not just limited this to porn. Men will figure it out. And here's the other on the that would be the demand side. On the supply side, if it would have to get so onerous for women to profit off of their looks via the internet, which is a very tempting proposition. It would have to get so onerous that they say, okay, how do I make money off of my looks? Well, it's so onerous, I'm going to be a nice supportive wife and find myself a rich husband. That ain't gonna happen. All right. So we have the male sex drive and demand. They'll find a way. They will find a way. All right. I remember, back in the day, you guys, when you had dial up, you'd wait 8 hours to download one porn pic. You hit download, you go to your college class, wherever you come back. Hey, a nipple. Yay. Success. All right.
Hell yeah.
And girls have been
12 on Showtime watching the fuzzy channels.
Yeah, the funny, right. So demand is solid. I mean, if you got to find crypt, don't worry, these boys will figure it out. Okay. And then on the girls' side, they're so conditioned. They're never going. They think marriage and being pretty and attractive in analog world, in the real world, let alone supporting a husband. And that's how you're going to get money based off of your looks. They will go to super lengths and extents that they will. And then also guys will accommodate this by doing all the hard IT work to set up payment in both fiat and crypto. That it is coming, it will happen, and it will bypass the traditional payment processing that we have. So it's not going to be today or tomorrow, but forecast, Cappy predicts 5 years time. I bet you, unless there's a fiat alternative to OnlyFans, and the payment processing and the powers that be in traditional banking system allow it, you're going to start to see crypto payments coming up.
It's inevitable. All that you're seeing right now is just a bunch of boomers making shitty decisions. They're in London, right? And they're like, oh, we can't be having ye old butthole on OnlyFans, and so they're just pulling the plug, and they're trying to like pseudo. Like if you look at every
hang on, is that a bar in Britain? Ye old butthole.
Ye old butthole.
That's where Troy Francis picks up girls. The ye old butthole. But if you look at it, why does YouTube demonetize us and censor us and shadow ban our channels? Right? Because they're cucking out to the advertisers. Why does the NFL make awful decisions regarding basically everything lately, right? Because they're cucking out to the advertisers and to the banks. And MLB, the NBA, abysmal ratings since they did this whole fucking social justice warrior thing. Get woke, go broke. And that's why everybody's starting to realize now that all this woke propaganda shit is coming from these corporations. Yeah, Tim Cook talking about Black Lives Matter, but literally using slave labor in China. That these people are jumping out of the building, trying to kill themselves. And they're like, okay, we're going to put some nets around the base of the building to like reduce this suicide rate, not increase the wages of these people, not do anything like that. These people making like 40 cents a day. And that's these companies talking about, oh, we're pledged, to equality of all lives and blah, 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 blah. All this woke shit in America is to trick stupid fat white women into buying their fucking products, and now this cesspool is what has happened due to, it's going to sound bad when I say this, like unbridled capitalism, but it's basically just a lack of creativity. Everybody just like, oh, let's just sell to women, let's just fucking milk women. And that's what feminism is. It's to extort women for money and votes, period.
Can I ask Cooper a question?
Yeah, go.
Okay. Sterling, you may have a little bit more insight on this, but what limited attention I've paid to the OnlyFans and the news, were they trying to go for financing? Weren't they trying to like raise money and that's why they had to get rid of the prawn?
I have not heard about it. That's not something I've heard of. They have investors. They were bought out for, like, for example, they were bought at the beginning of last year. The OnlyFans was bought out by the company that owns MyFreeCams. MyFreeCams is a webcamming site that doesn't allow any cock, like, so no penis at all. So it's only women masturbating at all. So like when I saw that, I was like, okay, they're probably going to like start getting rid of like what we would call boy girl content, so penis and vagina shit, and then they took it even further. So it's all the big players in this industry are all owned by like a handful of companies.
But that's what I'm trying to figure out. What is their financial incentive? Because there must be some savvy people that know, like, look, we do, you know, peen and hoo-ha.
Yeah.
We've made all this money, and somewhere, let me look it up, but I could have swore they were looking for financing. It's like, well, your entire business. In other words, is there any sanity? A better question would be, is there any sanity within the ownership or the managerial class of the porn industry, internet porn industry, where they're saying, wow, we're shooting ourselves in the foot here?
Well, that's what I'm saying. What I was saying before is I don't think this was that kind of a decision. I think this was a case of like the bank. I don't think this was like the board sitting around being like, this is our business model now, we're going to make this pivot, because they were sitting on a pile of cash. I genuinely think this is like a bank's coming to them and being like, hey guys, you're too big. Like we got to quash this shit, because otherwise we can't process your payments. Like you got to do this. You got to comply or goodbye. I think it was the banks pressuring them more so than their board being like, we need to make this decision to open up this market. I mean, they were trying to as a caveat, OnlyFans were very, very clear about the last year about the fact that they were trying to bring on more like celebrity or minor celebrities and influencers and shit. Like Bella Thorne was a perfect example of that, onto the platform to bring in a new audience, because porn built the platform. But they already had all the porn addicts on Pornhub. Those customers were already on the platform. So like, well, how do we grow? We get new people on the platform. And how do we get new people? Well, all the porn stars are already here. So we need to get like Instagram thots and like minor celebrities who've never shown their titties. We need to get these girls on the platform so they'll bring all their thirsty fans onto the platform as well. So that was they were making that play for the last year, but it never really, I mean, look, I personally think that this is the banks pressuring them, because why the hell would you earn like $2 billion at all?
I agree with John. I think they're going after votes of the women. Absolutely, because women spend most of the money. You know, any man. We talked about this the other day. Any man, it doesn't matter how much money you have. I had one plate, one fork, and I would live in a box. Yeah, you know, and I don't think those old rich men really have a problem with it at all, because they've had mistresses the whole time, more than likely. In fact, I sent you this quote. I wanted to read it to you. I thought it was hilarious. The evangelical Christian women trying to make OnlyFans disappear don't realize that if I lose this income, I will start fucking their husbands again for money.
Yeah.
Boom.
So that's right. A good point.
That transaction is as old as time.
It's not even a conspiracy either, what you're talking about. MasterCard comes out with their annual reports. Women today are a $14 trillion consumer industry. Men are less than 5.
And you're right about what you said earlier. You know, I have 9 employees that build buildings. There is not a road, a street, a device, anything that was not invented, built, and kept up by men in pursuit of women. This isn't going away.
Yeah. Cappy, I see your link in the private chat there, the Bloomberg thing. OnlyFans is said to peak funding at valuation above $1 billion. I'm trying to get to it, but it's behind a paywall.
Well, I got it right up here. It kind of echoes what Ryan was saying and a couple other things. I'll just read 2 paragraphs. The startup, which is profitable, is working with an advisor to solicit interest from investors. So one of the people who asked not to be identified because the discussions are private. The idea is to find backers who can help it become more mainstream media platforms. So they're diluting their brand and lessen its reputation for porn. I'm still confused why they torpedoed and nuked their porn. Though OnlyFans has roots in adult entertainment, the site wants to be a place where a broad range of celebrities and athletes, again, that plays to women in the gossip columns and, the checkout aisle at the grocery store, can connect with fans. It's also looking to attract more advertisers, some of which may be wary of its ties to porn. So they're just trying to be everything to everyone, and in the process, eliminating what made them themselves in the first place.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's also like I think it's this too. I think it's like, look at like who the guy is who made it, right? He's a former Barclays investment banker, Tim Stokely, and he used to be involved in investment banking. So you have like these old hardened boomer bankers that are just going to him and like, hey, like basically, we're not going to fund you, so you got to shut this shit down. And like most dudes who are involved in tech, they just roll over and take it, and they're like, oh, okay, like big bad fucking banks coming for me, don't fight back. And I don't know. I don't think it's.
I'm more Larry Flint's.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on if it's going to be a good decision for OnlyFans, because they are selling out. But really, who's going to go to OnlyFans and be like? I mean, OnlyFans is synonymous with pornography, and like, like what are they going to be like? Oh yeah, by the way, like people are going to be afraid to say this. Like, oh guys, I say, hey, sign up for my Patreon, join my coaching. People are going to be like, oh, yeah, sign up for my OnlyFans for exclusive content. Like, oh, shit, is she showing asshole photos? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're already tied in.
What do I get? Yeah.
You know what? IBM got
It's
past
like
some of the
every
shit
time
they
I
did
see-
in the 40s. I think they'll be fine.
It's like every time you see Orlando Bloom, you're like, that's Legolas, right? That's the same thing with OnlyFans. You know what I mean?
Typecasting you for all.
Yeah.
But John, IBM, they literally created the machines that the certain German army was using in the 40s to... I don't know how to use euphemisms. That's how they were running the work camps, using IBM equipment. They got past that PR nightmare. If they can do it, OnlyFans can get past Goatsy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm someone just mentioned this in the chat. Like, it's Tumblr 2.0. It's like Tumblr. Like,
It's gonna die.
It's been a few years since Tumblr made that horrific decision, and no one talks about Tumblr anymore. Like, Tumblr's done. I mean, purely because there's so many competitors to OnlyFans right now that someone's going to pick up the ball and run with it. Someone's doing it. Like, everyone's hungry. Everyone wants it. Everyone wants that cash. So someone's going to do it better than them.
Yeah, and girls don't want to learn engineering. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah. God.
You know what you can do now? I don't know if you guys know about this, but on Twitch, there is this software you can use called Upcoin, and you can tip thoughts with cryptocurrency. So I mean, if you can already, if some people don't have fiat, they don't have PayPal money, they don't have Stripe money, so they can't tip these girls like with super chats and stuff like this. But if they have crypto, you can tip them with Upcoin and get a little alert to pop up. It like integrates with Streamlabs and Stream Elements. So I mean, the OnlyFans version that's crypto based is coming, and this is just people are fucking dumb if they think like crypto's a fad. Like, people are fucking retarded if you think crypto's just gonna it's just gonna fade away. Like,
I've been telling me that since 2014.
Like Books a Million, it's just gonna go away.
I love this. The guy's like, what happened to Tumblr? Yeah, exactly. The reason why you're asking that question is because nobody knows what Tumblr used to be. Tumblr used to be like very much you could post porn all day long on there. I think one of the things that wasn't it like on Twitter you can post porn, but like on what was it on Gab? I remember when Gab decided that they were going to just ban all porn on Gab, and then like Parler and some of these other supposedly Twitter alternatives. And I think Cappy's right in the sense that like people want porn, they want to feel good, right? They want to get high. And they'll find ways to get high, it's like that old Chris Rock routine. is, it doesn't matter. Like if you can ban all drugs, people will find a way to like smoke banana peels and then they'll get high off of banana peels or whatever it is. That's simply the nature of the human animal, right? That's what we want to do. We want to have some sort of escape. And then my next question was this. I mean, we talk about the financial impact of all of this. This time last year, somebody sent me this, and I think it was off of a Reddit subreddit or something like that. And it was from some lady who was a college counselor and saying that they had to have like special meetings at these, like, I guess a community college or whatever college that they were at, because they had so many girls coming into college thinking that they were going to have some sort of like college classes to teach them how to better leverage OnlyFans. Because in 2020, OnlyFans was the #1 career choice for women going into college at that time. And so my question is this, and you put this to the panel here, whoever wants to answer it can. It's like, what do you think, like where's the money going to go? Where's the girls going to go? I mean, obviously, like not all of them are making $100,000 a month, but like a lot of women still like young women still think that OnlyFans is sort of like the key to success. I'm going to just go get mine as quick as I can and get out of it as fast as I can. And the other part of this is, and Sterling, maybe you know this as well, because when I was interviewing you, or last time I was talking to you about the porn industry, a lot of the girls who are in porn have OnlyFans sites, and they end up making a lot of money, probably more money in some cases, off of the OnlyFans site than they do actually doing shoots. Mm-hmm. So like that's just like that. The fact that they're in the business is just sort of like validates the fact that they're really, they're the real deal kind of thing. So money's going to go for not only just the girls, but also the simps who are paying for the access to these chicks.
Mm-hmm. Sterling, would you speak to why the relationship, like when porn's one thing, but the relationship that the guys have with the girls is completely different.
Yeah.
That's what they're paying for.
This is the thing that people don't like. Here's why OnlyFans was so successful. It was the perfect balance between Instagram and Pornhub. See, Pornhub is purely sex, purely porn, right? Instagram is purely like a behind the scenes into their life with like no titties allowed. OnlyFans hit this perfect fucking middle spot, where it's like you get to see the titties, you get to see the badge, you get to see the masturbating, but you also get to interact. And
she answers the DM this time.
Well, she answers the DM, and it's like this the one place where you can interact with the whole
the third wall. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's like the only the people think it's like the fantasy they're selling this porn. The fantasy that OnlyFans really sold is that you can talk to a beautiful woman with 0% chance of rejection.
And in that guy's whole life, that's probably the only time he's ever gotten attention from a woman like that.
Some dudes are literally thinking that like OnlyFans is somehow a dating site, and it's a way to like meet women. Like there's actually
they're trying to save them off of OnlyFans.
There's literally young men who think that OnlyFans is like a way to date women and talk to women and get to know them and like end up being in a relationship with them. There's men who actually think that.
I've heard Tristan talk about men that come in cam rooms and yell at other men in the cam room and try to defend her if he doesn't like something that they say to her, if they ask her to do something that he feels is unappropriate.
You're making her degrade herself. They're white knighting within the camera.
They're white knighting inside the cam room.
Yeah,
it's the relationship. I think the power's in the relationship.
And that's a testament to everything we talk about. Like everybody, like these guys, so many young men are so, I mean, I think you said this last night, Rollo, on the Lauren Southern debate, however you want to call it, that the internet we thought the internet was this thing that connected us all, or was it an extroversion?
Yeah,
it's actually an introversion tool. It's made us all so isolated, and that's why this is such a powerful business in this day and age. Because so many young men, women don't really get isolated. Like a woman always has someone coming to her asking to hang out. Like there's always someone in her DMs. She always has the option to socialize. Show me a young man who's got nothing really going for him who has that. They don't. Like young men have nothing. They have like no one reaching out to them wanting to socialize with them.
Right.
They're so isolated and especially with the COVID shit that's going on this last year, exacerbated it. So no wonder, like Lauren Southern last night was kind of like, why are so many young men like looking towards like red pill channels and stuff? It's because they got no one to fucking talk to. There's no
Right.
the chat here is a great like. I'm not trying to shit on anyone here. I'm just saying like this is a community. The chat is a community of guys who recognize each other's names. They get to hang out, share ideas, talk to each other, and they get to develop a relationship with us through knowing us on YouTube. It's like they don't have another way of socializing. Like this is a problem, you know. Like this is why like you and me have talked about this. Like face to face, like interactions, like finding your group of guys who you can physically be around. That's important. Who you trust, who have the same values as you, and you can physically be around as often as possible is really important, even more important nowadays. And a lot of men do not have that, and it's
the only reason we're here. Yeah. The only reason any of us have, because hey, young Sterling Cooper in 1989, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an internet guy that helps younger boys. None of us predicted this, but all of Western society bailed on men and went with this rah-rah pro-feminist BS at the expense. I mean, okay, go be pro-women all you want, but God almighty, did they leave men and boys in the dust? And now have this existential crisis. That's exactly why they're here. And sex and the pursuit of women is one of the main things why disproportionately consumes most of our conversation. This is the number one genetic biological interest in it. So yeah, and again, this goes back to what I was saying before. That fundamental genetically hardwired demand is not going anywhere. And about the only thing we could say now with the modern day internet version of courtship, be it online dating or having these fake digital relationships with a porn star actress essentially on OnlyFans, is that it is ultimately human laziness. That were these boys, and I think this is another thing outside whether or not society abandoned men or not. But right now, I think a lot of weak men are settling for a digital relationship because it's a heck of a lot. And man, Rich Cooper is right. And I run into this. I had a fat guy come on and say, he was chasing after a 3. This truly fugly girl. And rarely do I see girls are ugly. No, rarely someone ugly, but this was just hideous. Her face was ugly, like a horse and a chihuahua bred, and this woman came out with freckles. It was horrific. And why? Because he doesn't want to put in the work. He wasn't going to hit the gym. And now here's this option. I can jerk off, have quasi sex. The girl's way hotter. I get this interaction. Good enough for me. Good enough for me. It's you guys ever see Surrogates? I know it's an obscure movie, but it had Bruce Willis.
No.
Where they're not. I remember it.
If you haven't seen it, everyone should see it now. It's as telling as Demolition Man was back in the day. But basically, you don't go outside. You control a synthetic cyborg robot that looks exactly like you, and you interact with other people. And it takes a while to figure out what's going on at first, but everyone's really good looking and they're always in great shape. And I think the opening scene is like this guy hits on Bruce Willis's wife, and Bruce Willis just starts beating the crap out of this guy, and then he breaks the guy's face and it's a robot underneath. You're like, what the heck is going on? And then you see people behind a screen. That's exactly what's happening now. That is exactly what's happening now. And so you take this lost boy generation where we haven't told these boys anything and have ignored them, and they're looking for purpose, agency, and ultimately love in life. And now we give them this digital substitute. It is more addicting than heroin. More addicting than heroin. I'm supremely confident. I mean, we could talk about what's going to happen to OnlyFans or whatever. It will manifest itself somewhere else because that's the most powerful force in the universe, aside from gravity, is the male sex drive. It's going to happen somewhere.
Let me show you something, Cappy, on a website you don't know how to use called Twitch. Let me show you. Dang it. Look at this. I'm going to show you guys. If you have 36 seconds, pay attention. Rollo, just let me play this.
Go ahead.
It's up. Okay. So this is a Japanese live streamer. Okay. Her name is Meowko. And what you're gonna see here, it's a play on her name. Her name's Moeko, and it's a Japanese name, and meow is cute like a cat. But what you're gonna see right here is you're gonna hear the sound she gets from her donation, and then you're gonna see the amount that she gets donated, and you're gonna see the simp ass message. Just let me know if you could hear it right off the bat, Rollo. I don't know if it'll be muted or not.
Real quick before you,
those teeth.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
So take a look here. Lula Hoop donated $5,992.
Wow.
U.S. or yen?
That's US dollars. Clary.
Yeah.
Listen to the message. Listen to the message.
Safe to say, this present is from all of us. Your honest love and energy for life is what this world needs more of. Keep living your best dreams in the present, in and out of Twitch. Also bring Tangora. Question mark. We got you, bro, laughing face.
Sitting in her living room. $6,000 donated to her by a fucking lonely dork. For sitting in her living room on a 720p camera like her name is Erin Clary.
What one of us?
Can you see that? Is that how's the resolution on that, John? Can you see that?
And you know what's funny is we should save that for the next time somebody says you guys are just like fleecing these guys because they're insecure. Yeah. Okay. Whatever you say, loser.
Maybe those guys are just mad that we don't have tits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why can't you be a chick and talk this shit? I'd love it then. All right, I'll see what I can do.
But
so one thing, I don't know, you guys might not be on the dating apps like I am, but I've noticed in the last week, at least, that there's an uptick of girls looking for generous gentlemen in the dating profile. Like a lot.
That might have something to do with the OnlyFans.
Like a major uptick. And I wonder if these are OnlyFans castaways preparing for the shift.
It's I haven't like you will actually see that, because here's the thing. Here's what's going to happen, because like we said before, there's a whole bunch of girls on this platform who don't really know how to work it properly, who don't do it properly, who don't make barely any money, right? They're all going to abandon hope, give up, and try to it. They're going to try and dabble back into like the regular job market, get a job as a waitress or some shit. And then in 6 months' time, when my industry has figured out, okay, this is the new platform we're all on, then they're all going to come flooding back in again.
I think you're being too cynical. I think all these women are going to learn to code and make women great again.
They're going to take all the STEM jobs. They're going to be CEOs.
I was just about to say is that like when I was doing my homework for this show, everybody and their mother's jumping on this topic right now. It's a big deal, right? I mean, John says, "Hey, we got to do OnlyFans thing." I go, "Okay, fine." But like 90% of the shows that I was looking at and how they were covering them, they weren't covering what we're talking about right now. They weren't talking about the financial aspects. They weren't talking about the money side of things. They're just, they're saying, "Oh, hey, look, OnlyFans is going to go the way of of Tumblr. They're basically slitting their own throats, blah blah blah." But then, of course, the big deal, the thing that gets eyes on the screen, is guys going, "Ha, we win. Those girls are going to have to go back into the workforce. Those girls are going to have to go." What was the meme? Was it
posted it in the chat room? It's right there.
The meme was funny. It's like all these women are going to lose their OnlyFans jobs at the same time, like restaurants and bars are like trying to do $500 sign-on bonuses because of the COVID pandemic. That was brilliant, by the way. But it's like it's pro revenge, right? It's like, oh, these girls are going to get theirs. And it's like, that's exactly what you guys said March of 2020. Like when all of a sudden everything was locked down and like, oh, all these feminists are now going to turn into housewives. Get the fuck out of here.
No, they're not.
Hohen beat COVID. Hohen beat multiple finance issues.
Yeah.
Hohen beat 9/11. Hohen is huge. That's the biggest industry in the world. It'll stop everything.
I think
they've already crossed. They've crossed the line. The girls who've been doing it have already crossed that line. You can't go back. You can't undo the porn.
Right.
Porn is forever, right? Once you've done it, you can't have not done it. So, like you said, Rollo, like there's no going back. They're not going to all of a sudden turn into housewives.
Digital footprints, first of all. Yeah. I mean, how are you gonna get around that? I think what's interesting is like when I talk about like how women's like sexual past and whether that's OnlyFans or that's whatever it is, or your Instagram, digital footprints, that those pictures are going to follow you no matter what. And so what happens is we try to build a society that doesn't care about those things. We're not supposed to care that she's, who cares? She was just wild and crazy. Why are you being judgmental? Why are you you're just so insecure in your masculinity that you would think that a woman's past would make any difference. And it's like, no, it does. And there's a reason for that. There's a logical, really evolutionary, latent purpose for guys wanting to be interested in that woman's, sexual past or digital past or who she's been with in her past kind of thing, because it's in their biological interests to know that kind of stuff. But I think what's funny is in a gynocentric social order, we try to pretend or we try to reinforce these social narratives that absolve women of that digital footprint at this point. And it's funny to me right now because like now that we see like OnlyFans might, it's probably going to be fading out and there's probably going to be something else that comes up as a result of that. But again, going back to your nursing job after you've been making $200,000 a month. I posted that story not too long ago on Twitter. There's this chick who is making, she went to school. Like Cappy said, hey, go to school, learn a STEM field, get on out there, get into the workforce.
They don't listen to me.
Yeah, exactly. And so she's making, I don't know, maybe $80,000 as a nurse. And then suddenly a year as a nurse. And then suddenly she says, you know what? I'm going to show my ass on OnlyFans. And she's making $200,000 a month on that. How do you go back to $80,000 a year as a nurse that you trained for a very long time after you've been making that kind of cash?
Dude, actually, going back to info security, like
that is an extreme example, though. Just want to make that very clear. A very extreme example.
Yeah. But even still, they're still making more money doing OnlyFans than they could possibly make doing anything else that would take them anywhere between 4 to 8 years to study to get that particular degree. We know what the enrollment rates are for women in college right now to get to a job that pays them, let's just say even $100,000 a year is still not the kind of money that they perceptually think that they can make by selling their ass on OnlyFans.
But it's like selling drugs. Like it's like, yeah, you can sell coke and make like $70,000, $100,000 in your first year. But I mean, each year that you're continuously selling cocaine, the probability of you getting caught and going to prison is higher. And the same thing as women, right? You can't infinitely sell your pussy and then think that the value of your pussy at 18 is the same at 42. And that's just the short-sightedness of these chicks. So
that's all right. They all save their money and throw it into a SEP IRA after they form their LLC. They all do that. Yeah.
Question for you.
I forgot. I'm so stupid. Sorry.
You know how you were talking about like you can't go back from hoeing. The guys want to know your sexual past, and that's and then big argument. It's a paternity thing, right? Cave people wanted to know it was their baby. Do I have it about right?
Yeah.
So here's my question to you then. Now that we have DNA tests, is that same instinct no longer useful? As in, is it actually better for men not to care? Because if that's your concern, if the concern is paternity, well, we have a test for that now. So why does all the hoeing bother you anymore?
Right.
And this is one thing I always like asking guys who bring this up, because then it's like, I like hearing them bullshit themselves, but I figure you're actually more eloquent. So I wanted to hear your take.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what's going on right now as far as like your digital footprint, and it's not just about OnlyFans. I should mention that as well. There's always been, and there always will be, I think, this fascination with women's sexual past because men are always trying to ascertain paternity, whether they have a DNA test or not. Like the human machine doesn't know that there's a thing called a DNA test, right? It's just our biological impulse to be like, say, to avoid single mothers, right? Because they've already been, they're a bad bet for your own paternity because you're going to have to reallocate your own resources and your own provisioning, your own parental investment into another man's child if you want to get with that girl. So what happens is on a social narrative level, what we do is we turn those guys who are like the stepfathers, right? We tell he's the man who stepped up, right? He's the superhero right now. We ennoble that guy so that he will go and sublimate what is really ultimately his parental investment, right? His parental legacy. And there is a sense of revulsion. I've related this anyways in the past to the human revulsion response in guys. So like when we talk about like whenever I see like Rich Cooper talks about, don't date single moms, or like somebody in the manosphere says, hey, don't date single moms, blah, blah, blah. And women lose their minds over that. They're losing their minds because what it is it's a loss of long-term security for them to begin with. But the social narratives that have surrounded, like prior to, like, say, the sexual revolution, to be a single mother was very, very shameful, right? To have a child out of wedlock it's against the church, and if there was a social stigma for it, you had to put the girl away and she had to go and have the baby somewhere, and maybe it went to go live with the grandparents, or maybe they gave it up for adoption because it brought such shame on the family. But now a single mother is a superhero because she's doing it all. And if a guy steps up, now suddenly that narrative has changed. And remember, that has only changed really in the last 60 years since the sexual revolution, for sure. Because what we've done is we've created a society where that's the norm. And I think that on some level of consciousness, or so, like the latent purpose for that is there's this unspoken, knowledge, let's just say, that guys are going to avoid single mothers. Well, we can't build a society on that. So we've got to find some way to reinforce that, or encourage guys who, in this case, might be just simply beta simps, or guys who don't have the same kind of sexual opportunity as, say, like the top 20% of guys who are going to have more sexual access. So those 80%ers, guess what, guys? Here's a new sexual strategy for you. All you have to do is accept that the single mother over here, who's already bred with another guy that she chose maybe in her wild and sexy past, right? Now you go and take care of his kid. And then there's a slight possibility that she'll want to breed with you, and you can solve your reproductive problem as a result of that. That's all down to the social convention level. So when we say, hey, when I've done episodes about why a woman's sexual past should matter to a guy, or why it does, kind of on the instinctive level, I get a lot of pushback from women because they think that, well, you're just an insecure man. You're insecure in your masculinity. You can't accept the fact that she's had a sexual past and she's a sexual being, and that she made mistakes, or those are her indiscretions. And it's basically this social narrative that is installed so that you will forgive the indiscretions of the past, and she'll be absolved of all of that. So you will become the stepdad. You will be the guy who doesn't care about that kind of stuff. And they understand this because more and more and more in a digital society, women can't get away from that digital footprint. And I'm not just saying OnlyFans. It might just simply be
the guy anything.
Partied with media. Yeah.
But here's my point. Think of it like diabetes. Our instincts hardwired for simple carbs, right? Mm-hmm. But now in the land of abundance, people get diabetes. You become a fat fuck on it. We have a whole bunch of cultures around it, like Italians. All their social things are based around eating. Now what do you got? Big fat Italian people in New Jersey. So for them, and they would have the same thing. There's social conventions around food. There's, you can't tell me what to do. I get to eat what I want. But it's literally killing people. Now, I'm not saying that, not accepting single moms is killing people. But what I'm saying is, with the way technology is advanced, is it a case where our instincts may not be working in our favor in this time?
It's called genomic lag is what it is.
Yeah. Do you think this is a case of genomic lag, and this, don't date single moms, or their wonderful, super special things? Do you think in and I know this is a little navel gazy, but in 200 years, 300 years, when the genes catch up, or however long it is, that this becomes no big deal? Do we move back to that, that bonobo society, Paleolithic shit, where the women are fertility goddesses and we don't know how the babies work?
Isn't there evidence that shows that the more sexual partners a woman has in her past, though, the less likely she is to pair bond, or there's higher
but all chicks leave. I don't think that matters. You got enough stories of girls with virginal wives that had fear of missing out and leaving too. I think that story is just riding the coattails of history. Girls are just hoeing more. It's just they just
so the basic story
8 billion of them
to one girl. That's where we're at now, it seems.
Well, we removed the buffers. That's why we've removed the buffers that would buffer for the worst aspects of women's sexual strategy. And it used to be those same buffers were buffering men, supposedly anyway. I mean, ideally, we're supposed to buffer the worst aspects of men's innate sexual strategy, which was that all men are dogs, right?
And people forget too. They think there was no divorce. They think couples stayed together. They didn't. There were separated couples all the time. It was so common in the 1970s. It was like a sitcom trope where they were in love and the guy wants to marry the girl. She's like, look, just so you know, I got a husband. Now we have to go to him and get the divorce papers. Aaron, you're old enough to remember this. I'm sure you remember it. All in the Family and shit.
I'm not
The
that
difference
old.
wasn't that you couldn't leave your partner, which chicks were doing all the time. The difference was you couldn't remarry. You could, but so you can't divorce, which means you can't remarry. That was the only issue. But people were separated and cohabitating with people all over the place. Maybe not in the same numbers as today, but like Rolo said, a lot of girls aren't going to give up a lot of those extra things. They had some incentives to at least stay married on paper, if nothing else. But that's
women
it's
will
not
always
some
be-
happy trad lifestyle of the 1960s.
right. Well, I mean, women will always
It's a
be
very
hypergamous.
small time frame in human existence, though.
True.
60, 70 years. It's nothing. Like, I don't even think DNA or your genes would change in 100 years.
Oh, we're
200
still the
years.
same
You're
as like
talking
the ancient
thousands of years
Egyptians.
before something's going to change.
Yeah, that's why I said it's navel gazing. I get it, but fuck, we got 2 hours to kill, right?
Well, I mean, and that's just like what Aaron was saying, and really what Sterling was saying is like it's what's God, it's a great book called The Ape Who Understood the Universe is by Steve Stewart Williams. Really great. It's my new book suggestion for people to read. But that's where I picked up the idea of genomic lag, which is we're still the same critters that we were 100,000 years ago, running around on the, in hunter-gatherer tribes on the sub-Saharan African plains, right? But yet here we've built upon the advancements of generation after generation until we get to be in 2021, and we're still like, I don't know how. I didn't program YouTube. I didn't program this this soundboard or anything, but I know how to use it because somebody who came before me figured all this crap out, and now I can sit here and talk to you guys about all this great stuff and sort of aggregate all that. And the people who come in the future are going to still be the same critters that we were back in the day, only they're going to build upon the aggregate database and knowledge of the next generation. The problem is that a lot of those technological advancements or those sociological advancements or whatever advancements are we're not really prepared for. Like you were saying before, we're not prepared to have Taco Bell down the street, Ryan, and so therefore we have access to easy access to food. We don't have to hunt it, we don't have to kill it, and we don't have to worry about being killed by it. And so now consequently we get fat because our biology's evolved to the point where we process calories in a certain way. The same thing with the human sexual response. That's why when Cappy says, hey, the number one thing that guys want to have is they want to get laid. Yeah, they do, because we're still the same critters that we were 10,000 50,000 years ago, and now we have access to 24-hour free digital online streaming pornography that will satisfy unlimited access to unlimited sexuality. And there's a lot of social and personal consequences that come as a result of being able to have that. Now, I'm not saying we should go back in time. I'm not looking for a time machine. I'm just saying we need to recognize the fact that that's what's going on with us right now. And it's not just porn. It's like a lot of other things as well. So like when I'm talking about OnlyFans, and I think I was on Fresh and Fit, and I had some girl ask me about like, why is it that guys will spend, just like what John just showed us a minute ago, why will they spend $6,000 on a girl that they're never going to have sexual access to? They're never going to be able to really even maybe meet in their lifetime.
She's in Japan.
Yeah,
not going to meet him.
Why would they ever be able to? Why would they be throwing that kind of money out there for that kind of thing? And I said, this is because that's the machine. That's especially for men. Like, do you ever see that movie Her? And I think it's who's the guy who played the Joker?
I think you're talking about She. Isn't it called She?
She. That's what it was. Yeah. And it's basically this AI of a digital waifu. Like, how you doing today, honey? And it was believable enough. And I thought about that when I watched that movie. I'm like, this only works for a guy. Like women this would not work for like lonely women. This only works for lonely guys because they want that connection. It's the same. Why was OnlyFans so popular? And why I think a lot of simps are going to start losing their minds is because you're taking away their digital waifu. They don't care about the sex. They care about that connection. They care about that even if it's virtual, even if it's just like they're pretending, that's what's important to these guys.
I will,
and get that connection from other men though, groups of men.
No.
You don't think so?
No,
because isn't it like wanting mommy? You want mommy.
I don't want to
You
sleep with that
you know,
mustache and beard you got, John. Jesus.
not to sleep with, but like you have
Speak for yourself.
camaraderie. You hang out, you talk,
No.
you have similar ideas.
No, fuck no, dude. There's nothing better when you're laying in bed with a beautiful girl and she has soft skin and she reaches over and she touches your face and she's like, "You're so strong, you're so sexy." There's nothing better than that when you're in bed.
I have to point out something because there's a bit of empirical data, and I like him. I even respect him. Of course, I disagree with him on some things, but we all know Turd Flinging Monkey. Now he is not an irrational man. The man is actually a genius. His philosophy is tight. I would not consider him necessarily the psychological profile of an incel, but he is all for waifu lifu, as he calls it, and he has a sex robot, a sex doll.
He's got his
Celestina.
Celestina, we know.
Right. So I mean, well, there might be new people. There might be people tuning into the show, guys, who don't know. You know, we got to. For example, I still don't know who the F Cooper's buddy is. No one gave a proper introduction. I'm like,
Justin
here's this
Waller.
guy. Well, yeah, but who is he? What does he do? Anyway, I'm just giving a background on Turd Flinging Monkey. But there is a movement where, you know, and of course it's a very small movement, but guys are, you know, it's the Stepford housewives where men will go to great extents to synthetically create. Okay, we got it on the internet. That's digital, but don't think there aren't guys in minds right now trying to exactly replicate the Stepford housewives. And so now we're getting into the uncanny valley gray area where, you know, it's not going to be, maybe not in our lifetime. Lord knows how fast the technology will advance, but that's where it's going. That's how powerful that drive is.
You guys, I don't think you understand my point, guys. I'm saying for millions of years, we were out, you know, in the brush, hunting, killing things. Like you didn't have that mommy patting you on the head type of relationship until recent history. It's this thing that's been developed, and I feel like a lot of men keep looking for mommy to comfort them and cradle them. We have guys who don't ever grow up; they never mature past their not infant, but like adolescent stage, and they continually seek out a new mommy. And I feel like that's what this waifu stuff and you know, looking for that person to pat you on the head and tell you you're big and strong and all that stuff comes from.
So you're saying it's an Oedipus complex run amok.
When you were 13 or whatever years old. Back in the day, you had to go out and kill a saber-toothed tiger or something. You know, you didn't go. Did you go back to the village and the woman you had sex with, did she pat you on the head and treat you like your mommy did? Did your mommy even treat you like that for a long time? I went to a childhood psychology class in college, and they showed videos and stuff of African mothers out, you know, on the tundra or wherever. And like, they were pretty rough. They you know, took care of their kids, but they were kind of rough. I remember them dunking them in water by the foot and scrubbing them with rough brushes and stuff like that to like clean them. And they showed that the kids matured, and a 2-year-old in Africa was like much bigger than a 2-year-old in the rest of the world. And I feel like this like coddling is a newer thing, and guys are trying to stay a baby their whole lives.
I think John's onto something here.
That's an astute observation, John.
I completely agree with you. I mean, we've talked about this really briefly, Justin. We said like a lot of guys, they try to use women to fill the companionship part of their life,
right?
When in reality, being around other men is what you like to fill that need. You actually want to be around other men. Women are there for the sexuality component. Like they're the need. The companionship need, you need dudes, you need like brothers, because of
like
John just said.
Sterling is spot on, because I coach a lot of guys who are like, you know, I just want a girl that I can sit down and talk philosophy with. I'm like, dude, do you know what women are? Like,
fuck out of here.
You know, like there is a lot of these guys think they can just emote everything to their girl.
Yeah,
and like just talk to her about everything. Like, oh, I'm feeling like a pussy today. Like, you know, she's like, ugh, get this fucking loser away from me. You know,
they're expecting women to be like that. This is the whole problem. They're expecting. This goes deeper than they've been taught that women are the same as men. So they're expecting their woman to be like a man. They're treating her like she's a bro. This is why I think
that's a quick way to get her to stop sleeping with you, by the way.
Yeah. Complain
very quick.
Just whining. Yeah, absolutely.
Whining.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Like, I think a really good rule of thumb for dudes is don't ever show weakness is kind of like a catch-all
vulnerability
to your woman. Like, you don't vent about issues. You don't
Absolutely
show
not.
weakness. You don't. That's why it's important to have your bros that you can confide in and be like, hey, I'm having this problem, blah 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 blah, and they can fucking give you a solution.
Do it anyway, pussy.
Yeah,
which is the answer here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
hey, oh, you don't want to go? Go anyway.
Go anyway.
And then don't tell your girl, because if you tell your girl that you're going through those things, like, let's go back to she's biologically wired to want to have somebody that can protect her. Well, you showing weakness is a direct sign that you now can't. So why is she with you?
Yeah, she's gonna call you the rainbow F word in her mind. She's
Even aside from it might hurt the woman, just look at it from a practical standpoint. Why are you telling her? She can't fix it. I guarantee you, whatever problem you have that's bad enough that you want to complain about it, she cannot fix it. So why are you telling her? And the only reason you have to tell her is because you want her to pat you on the head and tell her everything's okay. If you want a girl to be your mom, call your mom.
Exactly.
But they don't want to call their mom. The mom will do that, and it's just one of those interesting things. And yeah, this ties it all in. This is what my bros are supposed to do, but girls and men are the same, so I'm going to treat her the same. She's my best friend. And then they find out, it turns out your best friend does not want to fuck you.
And that's what boils down to.
Best friend fucked your best friend.
Well, that's what it boils down to is Ryan, is that the presumption of the blank slate, that we're just the same. And within that presumption, particularly when we're talking about a gynocentric social order, when you combine that with the blank slate, everybody becomes a woman. Guys, their most ideal self is to be more like a woman. Get in touch with your feminine. Get in touch with your emotions.
So like that Top Knot podcast.
Yeah, and exactly. And so every time I cover, like, people say, well, Rollo says don't be vulnerable. I'm like, well, let's see what vulnerability is. The reason why we value vulnerability is because we live in a feminine primary social order, and vulnerability is what women are. They are the vulnerable sex. So let's lower men down to the same level as women. Men will be more perfected the more they become like women. And how do they do that? Well, they start looking for women, and they start believing that women are going to be their sort of psychological equals, because we all believe in the blank slate, right? We all believe in social constructionism. We all believe in emotionalism right now. And so, yeah, when these guys are on OnlyFans, I wanted to ask this question because I think that this is what's really going to happen. I'm not so worried about the girls like trying to figure out what they're going to do with their lives now that OnlyFans is no longer sort of economically viable for them. It's the simps. It's the guys who are throwing good money after bad, just like John showed us here a second ago. What are these guys going to do? What's going to happen? What's going to happen to? Because there's a lot more simps than there are girls on OnlyFans. I mean, let's just be honest.
I have a pretty dark conclusion.
How's that going to affect that?
I have a pretty dark and cynical conclusion that that matches Aaron Clary's dark room. I would say that I think this is what happened. I think life has gotten too easy, and we are just seeing so many weak beta males that have been able to survive. And quite frankly, their mommy and daddy did a lot of the pulling from them. And now life's gotten a little hard, and they got to go live and be a big boy. And they don't have the skills to cope. They don't have the resiliency to cope. And sex is a privilege as a man, and you got to earn it. And these guys are not going to earn the privilege to reproduce. And you're just going to see how these guys die off lonely and alone. And we're supposed to feel sorry for them. But when you that's why we talked, when Ryan Stone talks about it a lot. You know, when you peel behind the fucking, the MGTOW Warrior 4 2069, it's a guy sitting at home who works at McDonald's in his mother's basement, and he's 32 years old, and he's like shit talking women on OnlyFans. It's like, bro, you make $20,000 a year, and you're in your 30s. Like, you are a drain on society. So don't get your feelings all caught up in this because you don't want to do the work. That's why Aaron Clary was saying they're too lazy. They don't want to do the work. I talked to a guy this week on my show yesterday, free consultation Friday. He's 6'2". He's like, I'm getting in better shape. I'm 6'2". I don't think I'm fat anymore. I'm 6'2", 275. I was like, okay. And then I said, what do you eat for breakfast? He's like, I eat honey bunches of oats. I was like, great. So you're 17. And then what do you eat for lunch? What do you eat for lunch? I eat Uncrustables. And he's
what are those?
It's like this processed bread, peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you can just eat straight out of the package. And this man is in his 30s.
Yes,
this man is in his 30s, and he's wondering, like, why don't I have a sex life? I'm like, you don't earn one.
See,
You deserve one.
And I understand now Rich's rage. We could call that Rich's rage.
Rich's
rage, because then I'll get these requests. He's right. They all want the cheat codes. And I think one of the more beneficial things we've done to this community, however you want to define it, is we're no longer answering these questions. How do I get the girls? What's the cheat code? Give me the easy way to get, how do I make $1 million tomorrow? What's a business idea? And I think we've kind of scared away those questions, thank God. But yeah, but that's the lost generation, and they're never going to, because they're so afraid of the work that's required to not necessarily even become a successful man, but just to not piss away your life. Like, eat kind of healthy, be able to run 3 miles, and have the courage to ask a girl out and get shot down.
Do 4 pull-ups.
Simple stuff like that. It's I think we should focus on the 20% of guys that actually are willing to do that. But I think what would be beneficial, not just for us, but for the communities, we don't even answer those questions. We don't even bother with that. Like, the formula, shut the F up. Don't come up to me that, I'm fat and I'm kind of maybe so to lose. And there's this, no, don't. That's like a $500 consultation fee for me to tell you the same effing crap that's in, where's this book? This guy's not as good as my book. This almost as good as my book.
I think the problem is a lot of dudes are afraid to be like honest with themselves, like actually be self-reflective. Being for some reason, being self-aware is a rare thing these days. I can't figure out why that is. Like, I like to think I'm a pretty self-aware guy. I know where my weaknesses are. I know.
Not with those shorts, you got self-aware.
They make you self-aware.
Goddamn legs I like. I've seen plenty of comments about my legs in the chat. But
there's no incentive for them to be self-aware. There's no reward for that.
Yeah.
But
there is
so lied to by advertisers and media and everything else.
There is a reward for being self-aware.
Immediate reward.
There's no. Well, that's the other thing. Like, so there is a reward for being self-aware. It's called success. Like, or being and accumulating it's called accumulating wealth. It's called accumulating women. It's like these are the actual benefits of being self-aware, because you can correct yourself, figure out where your weaknesses are, and fucking work on them and address them. But there's no immediate gratification for it, and we have a whole society that has engineered people around instant gratification. The idea of delayed gratification is non-existent in our society today, and that's why
Rollo calls them the TLDR generation.
TLDR.
Just
put that Vinicius's comment back up.
Yeah, I was just about to. Let me just read this out there. What if maybe the quality of in real life women are so low that guys prefer digital waifu? So at least
the juice and the squeeze
they're
argument.
dating a feminine girl.
You have to raise yourself to a high enough level to where you can go through enough girls to find some good ones. Because there are good ones out there.
Yes.
Do you know how this guy doesn't know women?
There are still feminine ones out there, because like women are still competing with each other to get attention. So like they're gonna see all of these weesh women and all these repulsive women out there and be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to have their lives. Right. And you're gonna find some that are cool and they're really good to spend time with, and those are the ones you want to focus on. But if you're not dating enough women, if you haven't lifted yourself up to a high enough a level to have the privilege of dating those women, you're never gonna find them.
Yeah,
especially in America. But he's right, because American people in general are just disgusting. And so you're fishing out of a barrel of disgustingness. And so I kind of understand how a guy's like, okay, because even if you do find a girl that is relatively attractive in America, because of fat woman inflation, her ego is overinflated. And she's like, well, I don't weigh 700 pounds, so I'm the shit. And she has an attitude problem now for something that she didn't really earn. All the other fucking Walmart golems made her higher value because they're just disgusting. So I am not coddling that guy and saying like, yes, go be a loser. But I can understand why they're like, well, okay, I could jerk off to fucking this digital anime girl and send her $6,000, or I can go talk to this 300-pound Walmart golem or this 250-pound Walmart golem, Or I could go talk to the 6 out of 10 here in, Des Moines, Iowa, who's like the one girl who weighs 135 pounds, but she's a turbo bitch because she's so fucking slammed with male attention that it's gotten to her head.
I got to use turbo bitch in the
there
future.
Are some that
That's a good
exist
term.
out here. I've had some relatively decent luck. I wouldn't say luck. I'd say I've honed my skills to avoid the insufferable ones, the fat ones. And I've found some really good girls that I've dated long term in the last few years that I've been single, and they're cool. Like I don't have much negative to say about them.
Mm-hmm. But you got to realize this too, John. You have a blue check mark and you're a celebrity.
I earned.
That does count a lot.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, the guy who's like, learning the code and working the Walmart graveyard shift, like, like fighting the Walmart golems at midnight, trying to get his way through coding academy. It's a little bit tougher for him.
Well,
but
here, show of hands.
I'm not sympathizing with them. I'm not sympathizing, but I'm saying he does have a point that they are disgusting.
I get that. All I'm going to say, show of hands. Who here has had sex with a girl with your mattress on the floor? Not even a box spring. Not even a box spring or a bed frame.
I had a sleeping bag. I had a sleeping bag on the floor when I first moved to California.
Didn't even have a mattress.
I didn't have a bed.
Yep. Busted.
The Rule Zero Chad test. Have you fucked a girl on a mattress? Justin,
not even a fitted sheet, just the flat sheet flopped over it.
And my dining room table was a big spool that they used to put, like tables around in North Hollywood.
Cold out.
Yeah. Yes, I have done that before. I'll tell you what's funny is I have been I've been watching Westworld recently, and I think it's kind of telling, particularly in this day and age right now. And if you ever know the premise of Westworld, it's like there's real humans, and then there's like the synthetic, like the AI humans that pass the Turing test. Like it's hard to figure out whether or not they're actually really humans or they're not really humans. And it's all about to me. I love the show because it's like really kind of cerebral. In fact, that when we're talking about like imagination and then consciousness and that kind of stuff. But there's this one part in the very beginning, the very first series or in the very first season where I forget the character's name. I think it might be Billy or whatever. He comes in and it's before he goes into the park and he meets this, smoking hot host, right? She's an AI, she's a robot, right? And he's trying to figure out whether or not like she's for real or she's not. And he says, "Are you one of them? Are you a host?" And she looks at him, she says, "Well, if you can't tell the difference, does it really matter?" And I thought that's fucking creepy as hell, but it's true because right now it's like most of these guys, they can't tell the difference. They don't, like the guy who's throwing, $6,000 at a girl in Japan right now. The thing is that satisfied. That's the digital waifu. That's the virtual experience. And the real truth of the matter is it doesn't matter to those guys. They don't care because they're getting something, even if it's just like that small fraction of what seems like genuine concern. Like that's what did Sterling just say a second ago? It's the OnlyFans was the crossover between Instagram and pornography. And it's that breaking down of the third wall where that girl is actually, she becomes the AI that's in she. She becomes like, if you can't tell the difference, does it really matter? And most guys, it doesn't really matter because their life is so shitty that they're willing to like sort of suspend that disbelief and throw $6,000 at a girl in Japan.
And think about it. Think about Aaron Clary's content and my content where like we get on there and like we genuinely want these guys to do better. We're like, this is how you fix your life.
Yeah,
this
if
is
I
how
get paid.
Right. You do get paid, but you don't get paid $6,000 per super chat. Like this girl. That's what I'm trying to say. Like that's why that's how desperate these guys are for the easy route. Right? Rolo, you skipped a huge part of that narrative in the movie She when the fucking AI cheats on the guy, the beta guy as well.
Yeah.
The AI cheats on him with like 20 something other guys at the same time. Mm-hmm. And he gets all butthurt about it. But it just like goes back to, look, we're getting to a point now, like there's no more fake it till you make it, especially in the United States. Like these girls women have built-in bullshit detectors, right? And, you could sit there and pretend you're the man and have this fake bravado, fake confidence, like all these fucking PUAs who are all having midlife crisis meltdowns now. Right. And you could delude yourself and you could trick the girls for only so little. But at the end of the day, all you're really doing is shortchanging yourself as a man because if you don't pay the cost to be the boss, you just sit there trying to like be like, oh, I'm the man, but I got like, I got a gold chain, but it's fucking fake gold. Like I got a Rolex, but it's a fake Rolex, but they don't know that. And you're just deluding yourself. All you're doing is putting time into being a deceptive piece of shit. And you could really be taking the time to make money, make muscles, learn game, hold frame, study, join a mastermind, learn to code, start a business. And then the thing is, it requires work, and people are fucking lazy losers. So when you actually decide to do the work like the men in this panel have, you have no competition. You have virtually no competition. And that's why it's a feast or famine situation now. And I don't feel sorry for these guys who don't want to do work. It's just, I don't at all.
Yeah. And then I talked about this on when I was with Lauren Southern yesterday. Is like a lot of these guys just keep feeding themselves the same meal over and over again. It's like, well, all these girls are worthless in real life, so why the juice ain't worth the squeeze? Why would I want to bother with that? It's like, well, yeah, if that's all you're looking at all the time, you're not actually going out and engaging, and they don't want to actually go out and play the game. They want to put it like they're all red pill, but they don't want to put red pill into practice. They don't want to do game. They just want the theory. And they want to have their preconceptions reinforced for them over and over and over again. So it's like, oh, look, I'm dodging a bullet. Like, I know all this stuff, but I'm not going to play the game. And so therefore I'm dodging a bullet that I think, essentially they're not dodging a bullet because they're proving a negative. They're not doing anything to really prove it to themselves that that's what they're doing, because the virtual experience is better than the actual experience. So like, and what John was saying a minute ago is like, don't these guys have, instead of wanting their mommies, don't they want to, why would they not have the experience with other guys and be like, have that camaraderie or that brotherhood kind of thing? The truth of the matter is, John, they do. They just get online and they commiserate in whatever it is that's reinforcing their belief sets to begin with. So yeah, they're still seeking that out, but they're not. In some ways, it becomes very, very unhealthy. Now, I got to wrap this up here really, really quickly. But John, did you see this when the Afghan troops took over like the Royal Palace, or they took over the American, bases or whatever, and they were like throwing things over the side of the balcony there? They threw that waifu pillow out of the thing. I was like,
they cut its throat and threw it over, and they started shooting it with AKs.
Yeah, they're shooting it with AKs, and I'm like, So somewhere along the line, there was a waifu pillow in the American base, and they were doing. Obviously, it's symbolic and stuff. And I thought maybe, I don't know if that's for real or that wasn't for real, but it looked real enough that guys were like, that's that they know that that's what the Americans are about. They know that that's what that they know that they impact, like a psychological impact that's going to have.
I'll tell you this, we're going to do Dude Party here at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're talking about Biden. We're talking about Afghanistan. We're talking about the Taliban. We're talking about China. We're talking about all the lithium that's in Afghanistan. And I wonder why China's interested.
Resource rich.
Yep. But, that like, I just think it's hilarious. Side note, but I just think it's hilarious that like Americans like, well, what do you mean the Afghanis don't want to accept transgender, intersectionalists, liberal studies? Like, what do you mean? Like, they don't want to, like, the men don't want to hate themselves, right? Like, it's like Jeff Goldblum said in Jurassic Park, nature is going to find a way, man. Mm-hmm. Nature's going to find a way. You're going to see OnlyFans crypto version coming because dudes want sex and they want female attention. You're gonna see like this whole woke Inc. that America has established. This shit's gonna collapse, dude. It's not sustainable. You cannot, because in order to keep lies going, you need more lies to perpetuate it, and society is figuring out these lies faster and faster and faster due to the internet. Like, how many people are just like skeptical of the whole global, like, yeah, we all just have to wear something on our face, got to put on this face diaper, and like, the magic virus is going to come kill you. Like, people are just like, okay, like, this is like seriously sketch as fuck, right? And more and more people are waking up just to deception in general. Yep. So I think that, I mean, you could just keep on trying to stuff it down and stuff it down and stuff it down, but you're going to have that heart attack at 55 sooner or later.
Speaking of heart attacks, Cappy, what do you got going on this week?
we doing the closeout and all that?
Yeah, what do you got going on?
All right. I got nothing but fixing up a fireplace and construction, blue collar labor stuff. I got this book here next. I don't know who wrote that. Some guy wrote that. Who cares about that book? But you want to buy this one, the Book of Numbers, Analyzing ROI, Pursuit of Women, and Bachelor Pad Economics. That one is also a thing. And then specifically more germane to this topic for all the men that would be tuning in, how not to become a millennial.
By the way, I have that. I have that one.
Did you read it? Are you like my mom? You just buy it and you say you don't read it. Okay.
I'm about 3/4 of the way through that because it's so thick.
Yeah, it is pretty. Says the guy who writes freaking biblical thick.
Yeah.
You gotta look up a thesaurus.
That's the only book that's longer than my fourth one.
Yeah. No, there's really nothing going on. Just enjoying South Dakota. Finally got my house fixed up and everything's kind of coming together. And I will be returning at a regularly more scheduled podcasting writing in September. But the only thing short term is the 25th through the 28th. And if you guys got your affiliate links, you can go ahead and use them. Those last. I will be opening up my minimalism course, Achieving Minimalism Through Teachable. So if you're interested, go search the Cleary School of Economic Philosophy. It's on Teachable. Sign up for the school. It doesn't cost you anything, and I'll email you when it's open. It's only going to be open for 3 days. Yes, it's $450. Suck my dick. It's probably $520 with state sales tax. And yes, it's worth the money because you probably spend more than you make. It's I just don't spend money. I took the class. No, it's addiction. That's what you're trying to get rid of is addiction to spending. So if you got problems spending, take that class, and it's up to you. Is it worth $500 so that you aren't poor and in debt like a boomer reverse mortgaging their home, or do you want to have good finances? There you go. That's what I got.
Awesome.
Did Aaron see this thing that Teachable sent me? Did you see this, Aaron?
Oh, no way. Look at that.
Did you see that for crossing $1 million in sales? Did you get one of those? Aaron, did you get one of those?
No, I didn't get one of those.
You get one of those? Oh, man. I thought you were giving them out to everybody.
You suck, man.
John, what do you got going on this week?
I have a online security guy on my show on Sunday night. But I also have September 18th. I have a seminar coming up in San Mateo, Belmont, California. We're going over some takedowns for gi and your gi for gi competition. Check that out. Johnfish.net on Twitter, and DMs are open. Send me a message. I do privates, consultations, small groups, seminars. Reach out. I'm available.
Cool. Ryan, what's up?
Nice. Second channel, Digital Ryan. Links in the chat here. We're almost at the first 1,000. It's actually pretty good. It's honestly, I like the red pill stuff. I'm just going back to roots. Guys swapping notes, strategies and that, and it's a nice casual thing. So you guys can come in, swap notes with each other. It's a great channel. It's a lot of fun, and we take the piss out of things. You can always give your heartfelt condolences to the John Anthony Memorial, the man of 1,000 lays. We donate a single potato to him every day. The Hole of Glory is almost finished. It's going to be the Sterling Cooper Hole of Glory. We're just taking the piss out of it. Don't take it too seriously. Just sort out your own sex life and let the rest sort itself out. And that's me. Beyond that, just mid-watch every Thursday, podcast, Red Morning every Saturday.
Cool. Sterling and Justin Waller, what do you have going on? I'm going to bring Justin on my show at some point just so you guys can be familiar with who he is.
Yeah, just started my channel, so it's Jay Waller. And this week I'm going to be talking to Phil Foster before Sterling and I go to Mexico. So trouble in Mexico, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's basically that's kind of all I've got going on. No, nothing big in the works just now, but except ducking off to Mexico with this dickhead to cause some ruckus. And you can trying to I'll drop the link to our vlog channel in the chat here in 1 second. You can go follow all of our ridiculous adventures on there. We take a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and you can see Rollo catching several gorgeous fish on a boat out here in the so check that out. You can see some behind. If you guys want to see some behind the scenes footage, see what Rollo is like behind all this, then jump on my vlog. I'm going to drop the link in the channel right now.
Hey. Coop, are you going to wear those shorts to Mexico?
Absolutely.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Johnny.
Darkpast.net, baby. August 26th, this Thursday, I have over 230 people on the waiting list for the Dark Pass. This is my newest course where we're going to talk about in-depth understanding of female psychology. All right. And it is going to include a 2-hour-long lecture that is all available on Teachable and 27 female profiles, archetypes of females that can be found around the world, including a scoring system for each single girl. Includes 4 months of free Telegram coaching where we help you build your dating profiles, talk to girls. You send us text messages. We analyze them and we show you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. Also, 10 webinars starting September 1st to September 10th, 2 hours minimum per webinar, teaching about deep seduction and Q&A open to the entire Zoom chat. So I'm targeting probably about 500 people are going to sign up. It's a massive course. And like I said, there's over 200 something people on my waiting list personally, not including all the people. We'll be talking about it on all the guys' channels. Right. Go to thedarkpass.net, get on the waiting list because it's only available for 5 days. After those 5 days, it is not going to be available for the rest of the year. It is a one-time offer this year, and it is $1,997. It is a discount bargain to say the least for the data you're going to get in there. Come to my channel. Dude Party next is on my channel. We're going to be talking about Afghanistan, Biden, the Taliban, and China. Until then, thanks so much.
Nice. I will be on tomorrow. My long form. If you don't like long form, you don't have to put it in the chat. You don't have to say, hey, I really don't like these 3 hours. Well, guess what? I've got a Clips channel now too. So I wanted to make that announcement. I also, by the way, I am doing personal counseling. I'm doing the group counseling now. I am doing that via Patreon. I just did the very first one for the month of August. I'm doing it on a monthly basis. So if you want to be a part of the group discussions, or if you have something that you wanted to get to me for like personal counseling and it's something you're okay with, relating in a group session, that's fine. I still do, personal counseling as well, but this tends to be a little bit more interactive because everybody in the group is sort of helping you out as well. I do that once a month. It's at I've got a $200 tier on Patreon that is exclusively for that. So if you want to be involved now, you want to be in the group chats, go sign up on my Patreon. You can find the link in my descriptions. All my descriptions have it. And so you can be a part of that. As far as the Lauren Southern thing that I did yesterday, it's on her Twitch channel right now. It's already been done. We finished it up last night. So go check that out if you wanted listen to that discussion. I didn't get to see her once the whole time. I was kind of upset because I was like, oh man, I'm like setting up my camera and everything else. But it was for my part, I think it was mostly audio, but it was a pretty good conversation. So you can find that on her Twitch channel. It was also on her Discord server too. So you can go look at, because that's just how she does it. She's not really so much a YouTuber as she is like a Discord person and a Twitch person now. So there you have it. I will be on tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm probably going to be discussing how, and maybe Cappy wants to join in on this one, how intelligence can sort of ruin your game, how intelligent, like being a super intelligent
guy.
guy.
Bring me on. When is this? I'll write it down.
Maybe we should do that. Maybe I'll have you on for that one, but it's how intelligence sort of like disables a lot of guys when it comes to interpersonal relationships.
I will.
Not that I'm suggesting you all be dumbasses. It's just that I think a lot of guys pretend, or they think that maybe they're over, check out the huge brain on Brad, right? That's going to in some way make them more attractive. So I'm probably going to talk about intelligence and the effect of intelligence in the red pill game and stuff like that too. So there you have it. Hope you guys have enjoyed. This has been a really great discussion, and we got into a lot of topics that I think are certainly relative to the OnlyFans thing that's going on. I also think that there's probably going to be something that is there's going to be an alternative. There's no way people are going to leave that kind of money on the table. And at some point there will be something that replaces that. And it's just the human condition, man. People want to fight. People want to fuck. That's.
And if you want to find out what that website is, you just DM me and I'll show you where you can find it.
To do it for you.
There you go. Modern life, John. Don't worry, your prawn's not going away. You'll have your.
I make my own porn, Aaron. I make my own porn.
Yeah.
Take your last shots. All right, guys. This has been fun. I will see you guys next week. I believe it is it Rich who's got duties next week? I forget who.
Most likely.
Maybe it's Rich. Anyways, we'll see you next week, next Saturday, same time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. See you guys later. Bye-bye.